So we go from global warming to now climate change. They just changed the name. Why all of a sudden are we being hit left and right with all these earth changes? From violent storms to heavy snowstorms to earthquakes to dozens all over the place. Sinkholes opening up everywhere. Now we have radiation leaks coast to coast, it seems like. It's in the air, it's in the water. What, are we not dying fast enough for these elites? We truly need to come together as a nation and deal with this as fast as we can. So I have a few sites I've been looking at. I kind of follow, keeps me up with most of this stuff. I'll put the links below. But the more I look at this, the more I worry about the future of my kids and my grandkids. I mean, how do I help them and others, in their future and their survivability rate? I mean, you think maybe N95 mask, gas mask, iostat tabs, colloidal silver, water purifying tabs, filters, etc. Health and exercise regimens to build our cardio and our immune system. Use good common sense to adapt to your ever-changing weather conditions by dressing appropriately. Being aware of the surroundings is a must. You can always smell if there's rain in the air or whatever, if a storm's getting ready to pick up. And these are all great measures to follow. But what if this is a shit to hit the fan scenario? I mean, don't you have access to these things? I mean, eventually your preps are going to run out and whatnot. This is what we need to ask ourselves on a daily basis. I mean, we need to do the research, make necessary changes to ensure a healthy lifestyle in any scenario. This is why it's good to be in a like-minded group. Everyone can work together as a team when this kicks off. They'll have additional support to tackle all these things. So in the meantime, do your research, learn survival skills, and include your family. And, let me show you this one site I found, believe it or not. And then I turned around and found somebody else was following it too, that some YouTuber I'm sub to. But I thought it was pretty cool how it gives you, let me click on myself. There you go. This geoengineering watch.org. It's chock full of information. Everything, I mean, they've done their research. They've really busted their asses to get all this information and to make sure that it's accurate. And I mean, this is going insane. I also follow Suspicious Observers. He does everything with the sun. He can tell you, about the solar flares and when we're going to have an earthquake. And this guy, every 6 o'clock every morning, bam, he puts one on. Also, here's another site, this Earth Changes, the Watchers. This is updated like on the fly, and it goes from one thing to another. The volcanoes, the sinkholes, the earthquakes, ozone, the torrential rainfalls, the high records, the floodings. I mean, on and on and on. Even about the food shortage. We talked about that this week, food shortage. So, I mean, this is a pretty cool site also. I'll just put all these links in the bottom, in the bucket below. But, Radar, you got to agree with me, man. This has really gotten to the point where what do you do? I mean...
It is. And in my opinion, the crazy thing is that what's his name? Al Gore basically touted climate change as this horrible thing, and it's all the emissions and everything else that's causing it, when that's not what originally it was global warming. Now it's climate change because everything's cooling off. So what is to blame?
Well, they said that's the reasons why they're doing chemtrails, is to try to keep more warmth between the sun and the earth. Did you hear that one?
No, that's actually not what I heard. I heard they were doing, I saw they were doing chemtrails to deflect the heat from the sun from the earth.
I don't know. At either rate, I know right now the East Coast getting swamped pretty hard. Matty D put out a video last couple days that showed his sky. He has sun halos. He's got chemtrails loaded over there. I mean, they're really loaded in the East Coast right now. You'd be lucky if you see a blue sky. And it's like, aerosol vaccines, man. I just, I don't get, this geoengineering stuff. Of course, a lot of people don't believe it, think it's a farce, it's bull crap. I don't know, man. Didn't you say you found something on that?
Yes, I did. Let me pull it up. Wikipedia, what is known as to most people as the knowledge encyclopedia of the world. Geoengineering is actually on Wikipedia now. It is not just some cooked up thing by crackpot tinfoil hat wearers in their mom's basement. This is real. And let's go over to climate engineering, and then we'll click this fun-filled picture, or try to. And right there, you have the airplane with reflective aerosols coming out, otherwise known as chemtrails. And that is their, quote unquote, their way of keeping the sun's energy from warming the earth.
Interesting. Let me click on that. There you go. But all that stuff is harmful to us.
Oh, for sure.
And, according to them, that doesn't matter. It's all about what they think, whatever their agenda is. And I just, with our air being polluted, our water being polluted, our food being polluted, and we had so many scientists in the last couple of years said that there's no such thing as global warming. So when they blew that whole thing out of the water, they said, oh, we'll just brush it off, change the name, and, start again, like all big corporations do. So now we have to spend billions of dollars on this climate change, only for it to be turned around and shown to be a hoax too, that it's not necessary, whatever. Meantime, how many people have they made sick,
The crazy thing about this global warming and cooling, I don't care what name you put behind it. The earth is warming up, was warming up, now it's cooling. And even in the maybe 110 years we've been measuring weather, like temperatures, we can see right there that the earth is typically a 30-year cycle where it warms up for 30 years, then it cools down for 30 years, and it warms back up for 30 years. And right now, we have just begun recently a cooling cycle. Why no one is bringing this up is beyond me. Well, I know why, because it wouldn't match their agenda.
Exactly. It just wouldn't make sense to be able to be transparent, as they call, and just say, hey, we need to do this for this reason or whatever. I mean, just like with the HARP thing, everybody didn't believe in the HARP until they was able to, provide proof of all that. And some people have been following the moon, following the sun, and now following, like, someone found the wave patterns that were coming up from the south, pushing that big storm up, how they isolate things, like the floods in the west, the drought in the east, they go, whatever. It's messing with the ecosystem, just why can't nature take its course and do its thing? Like you said, 30-year cycles,
Yep.
So far for us here in the Midwest, it's been mild. We are expected to get some pretty chill coming in this week. That's due to that next storm that the East Coast is getting forced with. So a little tail end of that's going to hit us. We're not going to get any real snow out of it, but we're supposed to get some snow, not much, but more or less freezing temperatures, like 2 degrees, you know. So it's going to be chilly, but still, how, I mean, you think about all this, and they're controlling this stuff, and I mean, how do we protect on a survival level, you know, utilizing our survival skills, our preparedness? How do we, you know, go about outside of what I already mentioned earlier? I mean, we can't all walk around with N95 masks on all the time, gas mask all the time, popping ISAT pills, you know, to keep the
Well,
radiation down, because you know we got radiation leaking everywhere. Now we got another leak in New York,
hmm, yeah,
in the
I
water.
did say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's actually not airborne. It is in the water table, meaning whatever water they pull from the ground, the radiation is getting to them. And if I remember the map correctly, there's a river right there, on like almost on top of where the um, radiation spread.
exactly. So it's like, okay, you know, how do we protect ourselves? And people are like, well, go down there and check it out. You go down there and check it out. I ain't trying to glow today. You know,
Right.
that's okay. You know, you want to glow, you glow, you go get your measurements. But, you know, just knowing about it, it just, it pisses you off, you know. I mean, what kind of future are our children going to have? What kind of future our grandkids are going to have? And looking at it from a survival perspective, well, what can you do to guard yourself, and really, you know, build your immune system? You know,
Hmm.
turmeric is an awesome supplement. I mean, it does so many wonders.
Honestly, off how you have been talking up turmeric, I am going to look into starting turmeric next time I'm down at my health food store locally.
Most definitely. I'm telling you, I had runner's foot for months. I'm talking since back last summer. It got from my ankle injury on the one leg, it created pressure on the other foot. So then now I'm like lame as hell, right? Well, I started pumping fish oil, magnesium, and turmeric, and I can walk now. I can literally
Okay,
walk now. So
good.
it's a great pain reliever. I mean, it does so many things. You just have to do your research on it and pick out a really good organic one. No junk one from your local stores. I got mine off of Amazon, and I made sure that it was, you know, good quality turmeric. You can make a paste out of it. You can even use it as a topical. The Cordell Silver will do wonders for your immune system. It'll help, like it kind of acts like almost like an antibiotic in my eyes. Even NASA okayed it for the astronauts to use in space as a medicine. So I just you know, what do you do? Say shit hit the fan, and this is going on. How do we safeguard ourselves in a situation like this?
Very carefully.
Right? I mean, build up our immune systems, build up our cardio, have a good, healthy lifestyle. That'll be a big, major plus and a start. You know, you just have to protect the foods you eat, the water you drink. You know, try to filter
Yeah.
the air you breathe if it's possible. I mean, like you see down in China, they're wearing masks all the time. You know, their
And that's
pollution
just
is
for,
horrible.
yo, yeah, that's what I was about to say. That is just for the smog in their area. That's not even counting everything else. That's
Right.
just the smog.
Exactly, exactly. So it's like, you know, that's all you can do, really, and just really be aware of your surroundings. I mean, you know, you think about, okay, when shit hits the fan, if say it's a grid down situation, we're back to the Stone Age, you know, the Indians, the Native Americans, the back in those days were able to predict weather too. You can tell, you can smell it in the air, you can feel it, you know, just precautionary, you know, type things. And then, like I said, build up your immune system. There's not much more you can do as far as, you know. Um, I think as when we're talking about the geoengineering and that kind of stuff, I think it's going to take, and not just geoengineering, but everything in that's going on right now. You have to admit, in the past 8 years, our nation has gone to shit fast on all levels. And
For sure.
you, I mean, people sit at their computers and bitch and type and complain, but you don't see them out there pushing legislation and telling them what they feel there. They're not calling these guys. They're not emailing these guys or mailing letters out to them. They're not standing on their front doorsteps, saying, "Look, we need a change. And if you're not going to give it to us, then we're going to vote the next guy in, and it ain't going to be you." I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to take it's going to take more than just a few people. It's going to take a whole nation to come together and say, "Look, we've had enough. We really
Right.
have."
Right.
And unfortunately, you have too many sheep out there that would just follow suit or sit and just complain, be a armchair cowboy and not do anything. And it's
Well,
sad. It really is.
I think part of the problem is it, beyond what you're talking about is not only will they just armchair cowboy bitch about this stuff and not go to their local politician, state politician, write letters into whomever federal level, but no one seems to know, like in the wide bitching community, I'll say, no one seems to know how to prevent this stuff or combat this stuff on a personal level. And I think that's what is really missing. That is one thing I like about doing these videos is even I am learning stuff on how to combat some of this stuff on a personal level. And I think that's fantastic.
Right. I completely agree. And, I think that's a major plus. And what we're trying to achieve here as a group is to prepare everybody else and to educate everybody else with what we find out, with what we learn, and get at it. We we think on a survival basis every day. I mean,
Hmm.
you got to live and not just exist. The old cliche about being connected to the earth. I mean, we all are. You can learn a lot from the Native Americans. They had it right, and
It's funny you mentioned that because one of the last videos I was watching before we started this show today was actually a video on grounding yourself and how it was saying it was positive to walk around barefoot to ground yourself.
well, that's why the Native Americans had long hair because it grounded them. We're of the
Interesting.
earth. Yeah, we are of the earth, and where do we go when we pass? We go back into the earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Yep.
So it helps to feed the mind, body, and soul, and be connected to things, the earth around you. Not people today are so materialistic that they're wasting their time being that they weigh themselves by the materials they own, and that's not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to weigh yourself by the character you are. So you have to feed your mind, body, and soul in order to be healthy all the way around, from top to bottom. And being grounded, the earth replenishes everything. It feeds everyone, and you have to give back to the earth in order to take, to get from the earth. So by them screwing with our weather and everything else, I mean, it's almost like they're trying to play God, and to me,
Hmm.
it's just wrong.